The room fell silent the moment he spoke. His voice was sharp, dripping with authority, the kind of tone that leaves no room for questions. "You have 10 minutes to clean up," my wife's father, the CEO, said as he stared at me across the polished conference table. The other executives shifted uncomfortably in their leather chairs. Some looked down at their notes. Others sipped water they didn't need. No one dared to meet my eyes. In that moment, I wasn't just an employee being dismissed. I was the son-in-law being humiliated, stripped of dignity in front of the very leaders I had mentored, coached, and worked alongside for years. He wanted to break me. That much was clear. But instead of defending myself, instead of pleading or lashing out, I did the one thing none of them expected. I smiled faintly, gathered my things, and said 2 simple words. "Thank you." The CEO smirked, convinced he had crushed me. My wife, his daughter, sat quietly at the far end of the table, her eyes avoiding mine. That hurt more than anything. She had chosen silence, aligning herself with her father's cruelty rather than standing by me, the woman I had once believed would fight for us. For our love watched me fall without lifting a hand. I walked out of that room with my head high. But what happened next will stay with me forever. As I reached the hallway, a chair scraped behind me, then another. I turned slightly, and to my shock, one of the senior managers, someone who had been with the company for over a decade, stood up and quietly followed, then another, and another. No words were exchanged, no grand speeches made. They simply gathered their things and walked behind me, one by one like a silent army making their choice. 24 top co-workers, leaders in their own right, chose to leave everything behind in that instant. Their loyalty was not to the CEO nor to the company, but to the values we had built together, the trust, the vision, the integrity. Each step they took behind me was a louder message than any protest. The conference room, once so full of power, suddenly felt hollow. And though I didn't look back, I knew my father-in-law's smirk had disappeared, replaced by the realization that respect could not be commanded by fear. The days that followed were both liberating and devastating. I poured myself into building something new with the team that had trusted me enough to follow. Together we launched a company founded on fairness and vision rather than arrogance and bloodlines. Every late night, every brainstorm, every risk felt alive with possibility. But at home, the betrayal lingered. My wife barely spoke to me. She accused me of ruining her family's legacy, of tearing her father's empire apart. She didn't see the humiliation I endured, the years I had given to that company, the respect I had earned. All she saw was that I had stood against her father, and by extension, against her. The cracks between us widened. Whispers of her meetings with old flames reached me through mutual friends. She grew distant, resentful, restless. I had thought love meant weathering storms together. But she chose to hide behind her father's shadow, clinging to his wealth and influence. One evening, when I came home from yet another long day with my new team, she was gone. A note on the counter said she couldn't live in my world anymore. She wanted the security, the prestige, the safety of her father's empire. She confessed that she had rekindled a relationship with someone who fit neatly into that world, someone who wouldn't embarrass her by being cast out in front of a boardroom. Her betrayal wasn't loud. It wasn't a fight. It was a quiet surrender to the life she wanted more than she wanted me. And yet, as much as it shattered me, I didn't chase her. Because when 24 people stood behind me that day, I realized something profound. Loyalty can't be bought. Respect can't be inherited. And love that chooses silence isn't love at all. Months later, our new company flourished. The very clients her father had dismissed as unworthy became our foundation. We grew stronger every day, bound not by contracts, but by belief in each other. Her father's empire, though still vast, bore cracks that no wealth could patch. Rumors spread about how his best leaders had abandoned him in a single afternoon. He still sat at the head of his table, but his power no longer commanded the respect it once did. And my wife, now estranged, living in the gilded cage of her father's world, reached out once. Her message was simple. She regretted choosing him over me. She wanted to come back. But I didn't reply. Because the truth is, when she sat silently that day, watching me be humiliated, watching me stand alone, our marriage ended. She may have been his daughter, but I was no longer her husband. I had lost her, yes, but I had found something greater: dignity, loyalty, and the kind of respect that no firing, no betrayal, no silence could ever erase. And sometimes that is worth more than love itself.